Liberty Nation Radio, a production of LibertyNation.com and syndicated from coast to coast on the Radio America Network in towns big and small, including the good folks of Mount Pleasant, Michigan, listening in on WMMI 830 AM, and on KBKW in Aberdeen, Washington. Now, I fancy myself good with numbers, but I botched the frequency when I mentioned it in a previous show, so let me get it straight this time. KBKW 1450 AM and 100.5 FM in Aberdeen, Washington. Thanks for jumping on board today.
Say what? Say what? Say what? One more time.
It is now time for our signature segment, Say What, where we roll out some of the most wacky, astonishing, and damnable things uttered by politicians and, of course, the chattering class. It's all about the wall, the partial government shutdown heading into a fourth week with no end in sight. President Trump has made crystal clear that he's not backing down from his demand of almost $6 billion in funding for the border wall, or physical barrier as it's come to be known. But newly minted Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is equally stubborn, insisting that a border wall is morally reprehensible.
A wall is an immorality. It's not who we are as a nation. It's a wall between reality and his constituents, his supporters.
But are there cracks beginning to form in the Democrats' resistance to Trump and the wall? There was some wishful thinking, at least, among the pro-wall crowd when the second-ranking Democrat, Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, went on Fox News and disagreed with Speaker Pelosi.
My own view is this is not an issue of morality. A wall is immoral if it tries to imprison people who shouldn't be imprisoned.
Okay.
A wall that protects people is not immoral.
Okay. A voice of reason, at least temporarily, among the Democratic House leadership. Steny Hoyer making the point that there's a big difference between the Berlin Wall, built to keep people in, and this wall, which would, like the ones already built in California and Arizona and Texas and Israel and Hungary and elsewhere, designed to keep people who don't belong here out. And so the beat goes on in the longest government shutdown or partial shutdown in American history. And it's beginning to look more and more like a playground fight, with both sides taunting each other. Trump walked out of a meeting with Pelosi and Schumer last week, and this week Pelosi actually sent a letter to Trump proposing to delay the president's State of the Union address.
On the strength of the statement of the Secretary of Homeland Security about all of the resources that are needed to prepare for a State of the Union address, which he calls an event of special security, and so these people are not working, and we've never really had a State of the Union when government has been in a shutdown since the Budget Act in the 70s.
So Trump responded to that by denying Pelosi use of the plane that would transport her for a grand tour in Afghanistan. Trump saying, "If you want to diss me, I'll diss you back." Meanwhile, the left continues to pound the president in the wake of spectacular stories in the New York Times and Washington Post in recent days, suggesting Trump may be an actual Russian spy or asset. Really? The once relevant and now attention-seeking Carl Bernstein of Woodward and Bernstein fame is the poster child for leftist hysteria on Trump and Russia, appearing on, where else, CNN.
The evidence suggests, indeed, Trump has been a pawn of the Russians.
The umpteenth charge from the left that Trump is a traitor. All of this, as one Democrat after another lines up to challenge Trump in 2020, the announced field is now at 6 candidates, including the latest, Kirsten Gillibrand, the newly woke senator from New York, who used virtually every left-wing hot-button word in announcing her candidacy.
I'm going to run for president of the United States because as a young mom, I will fight for your children as hard as I would fight for my own. I believe that health care should be a right and not a privilege. I believe we should have better public schools because it shouldn't matter what block you grow up on. I believe we need to start rewarding work in this country again because anybody who wants to work hard should be able to get whatever training they need to earn their way into the middle class and to be able to have the American dream, which has always been for everyone.
Okay, so let's deconstruct that for a second. Senator Gillibrand says she's a young mom projecting her womanhood and her youth, said health care is a right, hitting the bullseye for leftists wanting fully socialized health care. She wants better public schools, translation, throw even more money at failing public schools. She wants to start rewarding work in this country again. Not even sure what that means, but it makes her seem like she's down with common folk. She brings up training for people to get new jobs, i.e. more government spending. And, of course, she closes with the American dream for everyone. Early prediction here is that her campaign goes nowhere. Another Democrat who's announced for president is likely to go nowhere, but not like Gillibrand, who brings nothing new to the table, but because she dares to think independently. That would be Tulsi Gabbard, member of Congress from Hawaii, who's being savaged by leftist Democrats for daring to stand for something the Democrats were supposedly famous for, being anti-war. Most specifically, she met with the Syrian president and opposes our presence in Syria, which President Trump will soon end. Listen to the conventional elite media wisdom from Allison Camerata and Gloria Borger of CNN.
She went in 2017, Gloria, this is going to be another issue, to visit with Bashar al-Assad in Syria. And this trip has already come back to bite her. She did apologize for this.
She did, but, you know, how many apologies can you make for bad judgment? Not only will she be criticized inside the Democratic Party, but I think it makes her a less effective candidate. I mean, you know, she can't position herself against Trump about meeting with dictators when, in fact, she's done it herself. So, you know, I think she has some, I think she's going to have some problems.
Funny, but I don't recall any Democrats who opposed President Obama's meeting with the communist dictator Raul Castro in Cuba, or opposition from the Democrats to any president meeting with any communist Soviet leaders over the years. But of course now, because Trump is president, meeting with dictators is verboten. Quick break, and then we're back to discuss the president's new attorney general nominee, William Barr, and other issues affecting your individual liberty in Talkin' Liberty.